Stop it.
You did it again. Hello and welcome to what are we? We're Comic Book Warriors. I forgot where we were for a second there. I'm Jimmy Linguini, obviously. We're what episode 18? I think we're at episode 18. So thank you and welcome for joining us. This is what the comicbookspeculation.com podcast. Apparently, you guys can now introduce yourselves. Apparently,
what's up? It's Sleepy John here. Glad the cameras just started rolling now. Some of this stuff did not need to be recorded earlier.
I'm Nico, your weekend update correspondent with comicbookspeculation.com. It's good to be here.
Oh. What have you guys been up to this week, comic-wise?
Well, the week hasn't been very long because yesterday was a holiday here in the U.S. So
I mean, like the last 7 days. It was all. I'm pretty sure it was a holiday like everywhere. Every third world country, I think Labor Day is recognized as some kind of holiday.
I like how he subtly called the United States a third world country.
Wow.
Oh, did I say third? I meant first world.
Oh,
yeah, first world.
Yeah. Get those always confused.
Yeah. Sometimes you get those confused.
Sometimes you get them confused. Well, I will say that the news has been very slow this week, as well as I think the books this week suck, except for one that people keep talking about that is going to do terrible, I think. But that's just me.
You think the books this week suck?
I think they suck. I mean, I'm excited for Spawn 300, but in terms of value, it's not going to do anything for a while. I guess there's one of them that's doing okay, but I just think it's a cool time for comics and in that sense for Todd McFarlane. And
I guess I've been like making like rediscoveries and like filling holes in my collection. So a few weeks ago, I wrote a post on Comic Book Speculation about the Punisher smoking crack or something like, right? Yeah, he smokes crack in what Punisher War Journal episode 30. And so I've just been reading like Punisher War Journals, and they're amazing. I forgot how like awesome they were. He kills so many people for no reason, and like for like the slightest reason, and he's always after crack and coke dealers. It's nice. Amazing.
So they never, and he's always in the same town, I'm sure.
No, he's in Baltimore, and he goes to different. What I hated about it though, there was a 3-part one. It's like called like the Russian something, and the first book, it's a 3-parter, right? So the first part, it's penciled by Andy Kubert and inked by Joe Kubert, so it was amazing. And then the second and third one had like different artists, and that kind of upset me, but. I don't know. My point is, Punisher War Journals are amazing, and you never hear anybody talking about them, and they're incredible reads, and I don't get it.
Is that what the show The Wire was based off of when he went to Baltimore? That one?
I doubt it.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, this week
it's a valid.
But I think I'm at issue 43, so I went from issue 30 to 43, and they're all great. They're great reads. And you find them for like $1, so it's like you get a good bang for your buck.
Yeah. This week I bought a ton of cheap books. I went to a great sale that I would encourage everyone to go to. I had to drive about
don't tell people about it.
An hour and a half to fill up a long box for $100. It was amazing. It was in Western Pennsylvania.
Oh, where?
What's the name of the retailer?
Yeah. Where do I have to go to fill up a long box for $100?
Well, Jimmy, I'm glad you asked. You would have to go to Elwood City, Pennsylvania, to the mother store of New Dimension Comics. And,
that's right. Elwood City.
Yeah, it was a great, it was an absolutely great sale. I was able to pick up at one of their other shops a couple really cool books. Grabbed a Silver Surfer 4 that was just a slamming deal, and I'm super happy about that. If I would have known we were going to talk about this stuff, I would have brought it to show you guys. But suffice to say,
we don't do the pickups. That's a different podcast.
Yeah, we have a structure, but I like going like oddball. Like,
well taken. But I do damage in dollar bins. The other thing I did comic related this week was thanks to our friend Keith and Sleepy John made the offer before him. When I say that I'm like missing a copy of one of the House of X, Powers of X books, what I really mean is that I have misplaced it. And they were kind enough to offer me a second print of that issue. I took Keith up on the offer and was able to sit down and read the 6 books that were published. And it was amazing. It's just an amazing run. I would encourage anybody who's not reading it to pick it up. If you're a fan of the X-Men like me and grew up on Chris Claremont X-Men, some of that like 80s and 90s goodness, I think this will really help you harken back to, those warm feelings you had about the characters in your childhood. Plus, it's sharp. I'm usually a fan of Hickman's and stuff and find, some of his mainstream, stuff a little bit. I wouldn't suggest that I don't enjoy it, but I just don't enjoy it as much. This is without a doubt top shelf Hickman. It's as good as it gets. If you're not reading those 2 books, do yourself a favor and read those 2 books, period.
Okay. Do you want to talk about some spec on that you were looking at this week?
Yeah, absolutely. So the thing that was interesting for me, and spoilers, turn off your phone or your computer if you don't want to hear about it.
We're also on Spotify.
Or your car radio.
No, Microsoft Zune. Turn your Microsoft Zune off.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, if you're interested in that series, you'll see immediately that Nimrod is the antagonist. He's the arch villain in the run. His first appearance in Uncanny X-Men 191, maybe? Yeah. Right now is being offered on eBay by a seller who's got cases of them. Right, it's like a $10 book. This guy's selling high-grade copies at like $12-13 a piece. It's got a case he broke into. So I reach out to him and I'm like, "How much for all of them?" Right, and he's like $5,000, and I'm like, "I'm no."
Well, there's only like what 200 books in a case.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm no mathematician, but I just like ran it through for him real quick, right? Because he said, "Yeah, I've got 50 to 75 copies. I want $5,000 for all of them," and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And I kind of like did the math for him. And then he messaged me back and was like, "I was just kidding. I'm trying to get top dollar for each and every copy." And I'm thinking to myself, like, well, why aren't you selling them 1 at a time? You're selling them 5 at a time. But, yeah. But alas, I don't know, man. I haven't made up my mind about whether or not they'll tell this precise story in the film. And I mean, that's really the question that I think as a speculator, I'm asking myself, because there have been countless great stories over the course of the decades of comics, even countless great modern stories that are promptly forgotten. And, the characters in those stories, here today, gone tomorrow. So if Nimrod is not going to be the big villain in the MCU X-Men films, who cares about the book? That being said, the way that they reimagine Moira McTaggart is genius. I had people tell me that, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Until I read it, it's brilliant, and I'll go out and I ordered a copy of that book off of Metropolis. For whatever reason, they haven't charged my card yet, which I don't really understand.
Which auction house is Metropolis?
Comic Connect.
Oh.
Uncanny X-Men 1 or Uncanny X-Men 96 is her first appearance. Yeah, so we'll talk about. I guess we can talk about it now. There was a 98 copy of that book that sold in a live auction for $1,300.
I mean, it's not like that's not been a sought after book though.
It's never been a $1,300 book. I mean, that's like
seems a little high, but I don't know. Is that high
Keith
for
and I
a
were
book of that
discussing
era?
about. Well, so Keith and I were talking about
the two
this,
before
right?
it are obviously pretty important.
Yeah, Keith and I were talking about this actually last night, which I think is really interesting. There are certain books, if you look at GPA, that are just a nightmare in high grade.
Right. That's always the case.
And those books will command these outrageous price tags. I don't believe that X-Men 96 is one of those books.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination. Now, I haven't looked at the spread. It's in, or at least when I say I haven't looked at the spread, that may be in a prior weekend update. But I haven't looked at it hard enough to commit it to memory. But
I would say
definitely
that's
a book
not.
I'd be trying to grab in high grade if you can get an affordable copy and stick it in a box. I wouldn't flip it. I think it's a long-term play.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's not. The books from that time and on are not. It's not like it's hard to find any of those. There's an excess of all of those books from '94 on, and that's why Nimrod isn't worth anything, because those.
He's got a case.
Yeah, I mean those books. I sell those for $1 if I have them.
And that's what I would be doing, is pulling them out of dollar bins, pulling them out of back issue bins, maybe at $5 a piece. Like anything
I don't
else,
know if I'd pay $5, because you said this guy's selling them for like $10-12. I mean,
he's selling high grade copies for 12, regular copies maybe for 5 or 6. I didn't look at the low grade copy price tag. Like I said, I wanted to get like a deal on all of them.
Did you offer him $500?
He didn't. He wasn't interested in doing
well,
that.
I looked at this outline.
He's independent.
Have you seen the outline? I printed off the outline.
My man.
Okay.
And I'm looking at it, and I mean, it looks great. By the way, you guys put together a great outline. We have
We
great
do what
stories.
we can. Thanks, guys.
But it says here Suicide Squad 2 castings.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so one's Nathan Fillion. Okay, fine. That was rumored for the last one.
Who's Nathan Fillion?
I don't know, some loser from
the guy from
Century or whatever,
Firefly.
or yes.
No, Nathan Fillion.
Maybe. Anyway, so then we have Taiki Waititi, the Thor director. Okay, fine, whatever.
Taika Waititi.
Then there's Peter.
I see where he's going.
But then we have Pete Davidson. What's that about? Who's Pete Davidson supposed to play in Suicide Squad?
He may have a small role, they said.
As who?
I don't know.
I don't know, but I hope he becomes like the biggest character on the screen.
I think he's going to play Machine Gun Kelly. It's going to be like a new version of Suicide Squad.
What?
Hello?
Like, I get it.
Hello?
I'm just confused by that, I guess. Okay. Weird.
They haven't announced any of these guys. I mean, I have no clue who any of these. If you're going to try and guess these, I'd give you you should play the lottery if you get any of these, because the characters they have now, nobody would have ever guessed that they would be in this movie. So
weird.
I don't know.
John, since we're talking about the Suicide Squad, you want to talk about Fighting 540?
Oh, Fighting 5 number 40.
We've been talking about it for how long?
Nico's book. Nico loves this book.
I mean, you'll see why in a second.
Yeah. So
tell him why.
This book, I've been picking these up, and Nico's been looking for them for months now.
John gave me a copy because he felt so bad for me.
Yeah. So I kept finding them fairly cheap.
So this is the first appearance of who again?
The Peacemaker.
Oh yeah, right. The Peacemaker, who's being played by who?
It's not announced yet,
Peter
but
Capaldi,
it looks
who
like
fucking knows, right?
No, it looks like John Cena is probably going to be him.
That's who they have,
which would be amazing
for some time.
Okay,
I think I read some articles where it sounded like he was attached to the movie, but I'm not positive on that. So yeah, a raw copy. So there's pretty much never, since the Peacemaker's been announced, this book really doesn't show up on eBay anymore. So there was one raw copy that sold this week for.
Yeah, tell them what grade it was. Tell them what grade.
It was listed by MCS, so people trust their grading. They had it as a VG 4.5, I think. Was that what they had a number assigned to it? I thought too.
4.0 VG.
4.0. Yeah. $455 for a raw copy.
Whoa!
Why?
Whoa.
This book is not
9.0 that was on eBay. How much is it?
What'd you say? That was $900
unsold
for a 9.0. Yeah.
Right.
So you could get a slab. Honestly, a 9.0 in this grade is going to be pretty high, because all the ones I've seen are really beat. Like nobody.
You saw the spread. You sent it to me today. There's 9 copies that are on the CGC census. Total.
I didn't even look at that, honestly.
In all grades.
Yeah.
9.
I just was surprised. There was a picture of a 9.6, and I was like, holy crap, how the hell is there 9.6 of this?
All right.
It looked really nice, too. Like, the colors on this thing are actually really nice. You got reds, yellows, blues. When it's real high grade like that, it actually looks really sharp. So, I don't know. What does that mean for the long term of this, you think, Nico? Like, if you got a raw copy, put it up for $1,000, see what happens.
I don't know, dude. At these prices, I'm interested. If I could find
put it up for
the copy I
$500
found and the copy you gave me, I'd probably sell the copy you gave me and split the money, and or at least try.
Yeah, I got a windfall coming my way,
dude. I mean, my word, that's just a big number for a book where the character hasn't actually been announced or confirmed. No matter how rare that book is, if Peacemaker doesn't show up in the Suicide Squad.
I mean, I've also been like putting a collection together. I haven't really been telling you guys about this, but I mean, I've been missing that book too out of my collection. So I mean, if you guys want to send me one, I mean, I'm just volunteering myself.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. Okay. It's in the mail.
No, that book's a good book. I can't believe I'm actually surprised it sold for that much. Well, sometimes you just gotta mess around with the videos. That's what I'm doing. I'm messing around with the videos. Well. I like it. What's I think there's some pretty big Wednesday Warrioring books this week. No, I mean I have a whole list of them here. What do you think? You don't think there's a?
I just don't like the books this week. I don't know.
It seems like this week more than any other week has been like highly speculated on, and these books that people are pushing. Or at least they're selling like at above cover. They all have like really high print runs.
That's interesting.
But you brought this
up to a really interesting point, Jimmy. Right?
No.
Do you want to talk about it now or later?
I'll get into that in a second. You brought up this book, and I didn't hear about this book. So this is what Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, but this is a Midtown Comics variant.
Yes, Josh Middleton, who continues to prove that he's got a range of art styles.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell that was Middleton.
No, I wouldn't have guessed it. The only reason, this book, the Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy, has a connecting cover #1 by Art Germ. It was released a while ago, so it was, nobody got surprised by this book coming out. And I knew it was coming out, and then like at 5 o'clock, I looked like, I wonder if any of these books are actually selling, because I knew there's a bunch of store variants. And this one came up, and I hadn't seen it, and I thought, man, this thing's kind of nice looking. Midtown has it on their website for $12. It seems to be selling for around $20 currently. So if you're trying to flip it, I wouldn't buy it to flip it at this point. But Midtown usually does not sell out of their store variants. So maybe someday when they have a 50% off their store variants, it'll still be sitting there. I think it'd be a good pickup then.
There does appear to be a lot of variants for that cover, or for at least that series. So
yeah.
I don't know what that means. Like, do we even really need another Harley Quinn series? Yeah. So I don't know.
I mean, I didn't see if the Harley and Ivy original animated series was selling anymore because of that. Maybe a little bit. Got a little bit of an uptick. It was a 3-issue series. It's fairly old at this point for a Harley Quinn book.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
So maybe look out for that. Yeah, maybe.
What's this? Is this Section 0?
Yeah, I hadn't heard anybody talk about this. It's an Adam Hughes cover, and I actually kind of like it. It's got some nice skulls on it. It's got
what is Section 0? So this is an Image title.
No clue. I had never even heard of it.
This is issue 6.
Yeah, this is number 6.
And this is cover B or cover A?
I think it's cover B.
Oh,
I'm not positive. It's not like a ratio variant though. I know that. It's a nice looking cover, and I have not seen one person talking about it. Now Hughes does have a lot of these kind of Image series that are never really popular. He's done a number of covers, older covers that aren't really talked about or that sought after.
I feel like he's a lot like Alex Ross, where like his name makes it so books sell, and people definitely order more of them. But when it comes to Image and some of these other publishers putting it out, and when they're not number ones, I think they can definitely fly under the radar. I'm noticing right now on eBay, I think the lowest one listed is $15
for this book.
For this cover, yeah. There's a bunch of sales at like $4 to $5. There aren't any like above that. So I mean, I think it could have some sleepability for sure.
Yeah, sometimes Sleepy gets one right. It's not right yet. I mean.
Well, I mean, that's why I had this banner that says "Don't sleep on anything you say." But no, I don't know. I think that's a good one. Honestly, I didn't. Okay. That was John. John has no or sorry, Nico, you have no opinion otherwise. That's cool.
I'm just sad that I don't have a banner that says Nico doesn't know what he's talking about. You should do the exact opposite of what he says. P.S.
You have a
Dummy
banner.
on our
Everybody
video.
has. What do you mean? I have a banner. Everybody has their own banner except me.
Oh.
That's not it. Yeah, there you go. Get real.
I liked it better. I feel like I like my banner better for me, but it's whatever. You can frame it however you want.
See how it is. And then
you don't get to write your own banner.
Yeah, I feel like that's
like
not fair.
It's just like a nickname.
You can't give yourself your own nickname.
No.
So
you gotta fall asleep on a bench, and then people make up a nickname for you.
So Spawn's been pushing itself to 300 for a while. It's been speculated on for a while. There's 12 covers.
I think there might
my
be
old
more
DS
than
was
that
like, "Hey, you want to buy some of these?" I mean, I picked up.
There's a lot of covers. We got Virgins, we got sketches, and then there's like the 1 in 25, and there's only one 1 in 25.
No, there's the Capullo and McFarlane 1 in 25, each of them. Yeah, then the 1 in 50 is just a Virgin of the A cover for McFarlane. Is that all the ratios? Can't remember. But the 1 in 50 is actually selling at ratio and higher. I'm actually surprised because I figured there would be a glut of these books, especially when you have that many covers. Because
it's not a $3.99 book, right? It's like right? Isn't it like $6.99 or something?
Who knows how much I paid for it? Too much.
And this is
what huge.
This is the McFarlane Virgin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like 64 pages.
Yeah. That's just a weird. Proportionally, that doesn't look great to me. I feel like it's like everything is oversized or something, except his head.
You mean that his one leg is bigger than his other leg?
Yeah, because the shadow's weird.
That's because of the muscle. You know how when you get
extra muscle in your left leg.
You guys don't understand it because you don't work out. Okay, you're not like real men. Okay, I see how it is.
Well, we had a talk earlier about real men, and that's the part that was not recorded, thankfully. You had a different opinion then.
We were just talking about Brokeback Mountain and my fantasies. That was it. There was nothing wrong with that. I don't know why that's funny to you.
Speaking of real men, how about that Vampirella Red Sonja #1 Virgin, the Derek Chu Virgin?
Did this book already come out?
I have no clue. How is there a Vampirella Red Sonja #1? Didn't they already do that 10 times?
Didn't they do that 3 months ago? Or 2 months?
So.
Didn't they keep? I keep seeing Red Sonja variants in different store variants.
I'm so confused. Now Vampirella just had their #1 a couple weeks ago, or maybe a month ago.
We definitely saw a team up. It has to be volume 12.
Yeah, dude. If I was IDW, I would hire in the hottest writer in the world.
Dynamite.
Yeah,
Dynamite.
why would you?
Yeah.
Okay, so
again, see how little I'm paying attention.
What does that have to do with any of this?
Well, because people buy these books for the art, and they don't crack them open.
Open them. Yeah.
Dynamite controls dynamic forces, right? Okay. So they are the original manufactured collectible modern comic guys.
Oh yeah,
true. Very true.
They're good at what they do. There's no question about it. I'm just saying, can somebody maybe cut Al Ewing a check for a 6-issue miniseries, change the game, find
people would read it then?
I mean, I think that if you advertise it, I don't know, dude. I just think.
I'm thinking. Sorry, Gary Nasser pointed out we're thinking Betty Veronica, Red Sonja, Vampirella.
That's an old one. Remember, I brought that one up this week. Yeah, that one that I sold this week was the #2.
And when you asked if anyone's reading these books, Gary reads all books. He reads every single one of them. And I really appreciate that he's kind enough to tell dummies like me about them. So thank you, Gary. I really do appreciate it.
I'm glad you can self-identify.
Smut for us. So #2 of that Betty and Veronica series came out the same week as Ninja Turtles '95 because I bought them both the same time. So that's been out for a while. Which one?
The Betty and Veronica one?
Yeah, definitely. Because Vampirella is a vampire and Red Sonja has a sword. So somebody had to die. Why do you need that?
I'm confused why nobody talked about it.
Oh, well, it was insignificant characters. It was the Hamburglar, the guy that wears a crown on his head.
Jughead?
No, I'm pretty sure it's the Hamburglar. He eats hamburgers.
Yeah, what's this Middleton book he's talking about? Gary's talking about in the live chat.
What do you mean? Were you not
It
here?
was Vampirella San Diego Comic Con. Oh, that one?
No, I don't know.
The Harley Quinn?
He put a link in there.
He put a link in there.
He's retiring after the live chat. Son of a bitch. Anyway.
But yeah, so I guess the other there's this 1 in 100 variant by who's this by? For what? Black Widow. See, Black Widow seems like another title that doesn't need to be rebooted, but here we are.
Well, I'm surprised they're doing it right now because the movie doesn't come out till February, I think.
You think they're not going to reboot it again?
A little. They see why. Yeah,
this gives them
find this at first because it's called Web of Black Widow.
We have 6 issues that can come out before February before a relaunch issue.
Yeah.
And the relaunch comes out
and then they'll have
January probably.
Probably, and then they'll have Black Widow team up with Natasha Romanoff. What the hell's the other one's name?
Yolanda Belova.
Yelena Belova.
Yolanda.
I like it better.
It'll be called like.
I thought it was Maria something.
No,
that's the Iron.
The Deadly Sisters team up.
Yeah,
that's what I just figured it out. Yeah, just look for it in the solicitations coming up soon.
And then I guess another one of our Wednesday Warrior picks is this 1 in 10. So last week you picked an Aftershock book 2, right? A 1 in 10. Do you remember what that was?
No.
Oh.
Do you?
Okay.
Do you?
Well, I picked it up and it was like I liked it, but then it wasn't selling for anything.
The Once in the Future book?
No, that's not.
No, that's Boom.
Yeah, but I can't seem to see it right now, for some reason. But
fair enough.
No, I don't recall.
I like the Alien cover though. I'm telling you, dude, that thing's beautiful.
I think they missed an opportunity to do an ET cover because there's 4 store variants for them, and I looked, and there's none of the finger connection ET. Like, how is that? How did nobody do that? Is that not ET on the cover there, basically?
No,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely ET.
I'm probably not going to pay $25 for it.
Come on, it's ET. They took his head and they smashed it.
Well,
like this, and then
I might pay $10 for it.
Last week you talked about
only 1 in 10.
That was selling okay. It was also a 1 in 10 from Aftershock. So I found one for $10 and I picked it up. But like the next day it was selling for nothing. So I think that there's a very limited window with these Aftershock ones. Like I think after they release, they sell like what were those night books like? Anyways, I think
Night Town.
No, like Knights of Templar, and they had a few.
Knights of Templar, yeah.
And they had a few books like that.
And the bungle's in for $4.
They're every week. I mean, yeah, we should look some week at like these independents. Hey, here's 5 last week. Are any of them selling? No,
yeah, they sell. No.
They pre-sell. Yeah, if you want to pre-sell them, you can make a few bucks. I think those are a nice little cash flow for stores, bigger stores that can order 10 copies of a book like that.
And I guess
and
like
hopefully
the big pre-sale money this week is in what this abortion book.
I think you had subject matter way off.
Extortions or bad?
No, somebody commented that on social media when I posted about this book, and I just thought it was really funny. I deleted the comment obviously because like I couldn't have that. But
that's not
apparently this book
that was weird. The like
so it's from
comment about like
and it's called
abortions is the devil.
It's called it said like it's called Something is Killing the Children.
Yeah, it's a great
and his comment was something about like our liberal agendas and abortion or something. He's like, I know what's killing them, and like that's a weird comment. But apparently the book has nothing to do with that. So
it was cooler when it did.
I guess what is it? The orders went up a lot. Right, because they extended FOC or something, and they added this FOC
That's
variant.
What they said.
So,
what can we talk about FOC?
The book was selling for for $25 to $30 a few days ago, and now it seems to have settled down.
It was.
Yeah,
Who the hell was paying $25 for that? It's not even a ratio variant.
And now these books, all the books have all the covers. Like there's 3 covers for it. They've all settled for just above cover.
Yeah, they're gonna stay there now.
So who knows what the shelf life is on these, but it doesn't look good.
Well, I think the sad thing is now everybody talks about Well, if it's an independent, you got to read it to know if it has a chance to get optioned. What the hell? Like, this is why you buy comics now? How about, like, oh, it's cool cover art. Let's check out the story.
Right.
Maybe I like it for a few issues.
It also seems like Boom is intentionally shorting print runs to play the speculative game, and I don't understand how that makes like business sense. I guess like, oh, we can put out another cover and we'll make more money that way, but it doesn't make sense to me.
Like once in futures on to 5 prints. Do you think there's people that want one of every cover?
Well, I do think there are people like that for Marvel and for DC, but for these independent titles, I don't think there are people like that.
But I think there are people that
there
only buy independents and not
if they
not
like
buy
the title,
too.
but they have to read the title first. So
the 6th print's the last print, not the 5th.
Of Once in Future?
Yeah, it was solicited as
Jesus
like last print.
Last I looked, it was 5th.
Yes.
The 2nd print is still selling for $30 right now, but that's because they supposedly only printed 1,000 or something and allocated or something.
Yes,
I don't know.
I haven't been able to find any 2nd prints, 3rd prints, 1st.
I found one. I found one at the same time I found the House of X #2 2nd print, which is also selling for over $15 for some reason.
The connecting variants were doing okay, but they've seen.
I told Nico that, and he said, "Yeah, some poor bastard just wants to read a damn comic." I said, "Well,
yeah,
somebody message me."
I was that poor bastard,
right?
It does seem like people are just crying about FOC, and like it's a big thing. So, what do you guys want to talk about that at all? So, what is FOC?
I don't want to. Final order cutoff for.
So, final order cutoff is when retailers are given a last notice of what books to order, and sometimes they have the covers by then, sometimes they don't. Like with Spawn, they didn't have the covers until like a day before final order cutoff.
I don't even think that McFarlane was released. The A cover was not released at final order cutoff, so retailers didn't know what they were buying.
I mean, so the reality is that there's a ton of collectors with diamond accounts who flip books, modern books on eBay and buy books in bulk. And, diamond accounts are a dime a dozen these days. That being said, people talking about their love for a specific title before FOC on social media influencers page push sales, period. And this Once in Future book is clearly, an example of that. People are going to do what they want to do. To suggest that like somehow all of the content creators across the comic book market are going to not discuss a book until after final order cutoff is pretty fucking naive. No. I mean, like it just is. That being said, the guys that get really excited about like, oh yeah, dude, you gotta talk about books before FOC, like they have just as much of an agenda as the guys who are like, no, you can't talk about books before FOC.
Well, I think the difference is, like you're saying, is retailers have no problem talking about it because they just want to sell a book for cover price.
Everybody has
flippers
financial
want to
interest.
Sell it for $10 or more,
Yeah, but everybody's got a financial interest in this, like a personal motivation, and to suggest that they don't is pretty blind and naive. So it's just a matter of time before we see people like Comic Tom or CBSI or Brian Wood and Jack DeMeo talk. Wait, those two are already doing it, and like there's going to be more people that are doing it. I mean, they just are, and it's not going to necessarily be those guys, but like they're just 3 examples of people who, are.
Did you see
apt to do it as somebody else?
Did you see Key Collector's article on speculators?
No, but I look forward to reading it. He was supposed to send me the link.
It's good. It's funny.
Yeah, it's on ComicTom101.com.
Yeah, good for him.
Never mind then. Never mind. It's not that good.
Good for Nick. I mean, look, like.
I was just saying where it was.
All of the nonsense about like, speculators are bad, flippers are bad from like retailers is so fucking lame and disingenuous. If it's the guy who just happens to work at the shop, he's just fucking jealous and dumb. If it's the retailers themselves, they could be just jealous and dumb, but they're probably, because they have a fucking retail shop, smart enough to appreciate the fact that, well, shit, these guys are doing what I'm doing. Damn it, I have competition. And there's nothing wrong with competition. Nothing. And it's going to come from private individuals with diamond accounts more and more frequently. And like I said, at the beginning of my, here's George's 2 cents, that shit is pretty common. Diamond just hands out those kinds of accounts, and the minimum orders are pretty damn small. So if a private individual wants to buy, $1,600 worth of comic books a month, Diamond's very excited to accommodate them.
Well, they're just trying to make money too.
No shame in anyone's game. Right. Yeah. And I got no ill will towards any of them. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Speaking of that, let's talk about a book that has not come out yet, but they talked about this week, Venom 21, Venom Island, which
so what does this mean?
People started getting excited about.
I don't know, but it's a cool cover.
Apparently, that alas at the top and where it says Venom Island at the bottom relates to the Amazing Spider-Man 347, the cover with Venom holding Spider-Man's skull, where he thought he had killed Spider-Man, but it actually Spider-Man kind of Peter Parker tricked him.
It has nothing to do with Godzilla.
Unknown at this point.
Because there
was no story premise released.
Wasn't the King Kong movie? They were also on an island. I just feel like it's a good crossover.
I think that's not King Kong.
So this book started
Kong
moving.
Island.
347 started moving.
I don't know. Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah.
That's always been an undervalued book.
Been a book. Right? I don't think it's even been undervalued. If I look for these, because I've been looking for these in high grade for a couple years now, because at 9.8 they sell pretty well. Very hard book to find for me in 9.8, 9.6, 9.8 quality, and every one I pick up is $8 to $10, and this is a very common book. I think talking about books that are not that hard to find, not hard to find, but in high grade, I've had some trouble trying to find it.
Yeah, and I was thinking about pulling those books out of dollar bins, not the $10 price tag.
No, I've never found this in a dollar bin. At least not that I'd want to pick up.
You should have gone to that sale I was at this weekend.
Yeah, wow.
So I guess the other big news though that came out.
I didn't. So there. Did you pull me one out? I offered you a book. Did you offer me a book?
Yeah, he offered you a book. Where's his book?
Yeah. Where's my book?
Where's his book?
Wow.
See.
Seems kind of rude.
It's very rude.
What? Speaking of books that you could have found at the dollar sale, because I did find some at the
Jimmy's getting delivery, not
retailer. I did find this book at a dollar sale, a couple copies, and I've sold them all now. Unfortunately, I thought I had one left. Some news came out that supposedly they're going to have a black Batman in the next.
Isn't that what happened? Is that what happened in the new Batman this week? They hinted that there's a black Batman or something.
I have no clue. I couldn't figure out what it was.
I think that's just really cool running a story and then people getting angry.
I thought I saw it from Key Collector. I thought they said that there was Black Batman. Maybe it was Bleeding Cool. I don't know. Somebody said something about Black Batman, and yeah, it made sense.
Yeah.
Because that book had been seeing some interest in the last few, I think, 2 or 3 months. It started seeing stuff. The Batwing 19, first appearance of Lucian Fox.
Because he's going to be on, not Lucian Fox. Isn't that the
What's his name? Who is it? His first appearance of who?
It's his son.
Oh.
Lucian Fox is the guy who makes all the Batman's gadgets.
Oh.
It's his son. Something Fox.
Oh.
But he's going to be on the Batwoman show, and this was announced a while ago. So that's why I picked this book up, and then now I have none, apparently, because I was actually selling them. It's Batwing number 19. Apparently, somebody's asleep at the wheel. It puts pictures up, but that's all right. There we go.
I thought I put it up. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. No, that was just Nico's face. I'm confused. Yeah, so the most recent sales of this are $50+ for this book today. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Try and figure that one out. I was so excited. I was like, I got one of these at home. I'm going to sell it for $50. And then I got home and I didn't have it. They
made Superman black for a while, right? So I mean, I'd be okay with a black Batman. I mean, if it made sense in the storyline.
It's fine.
I mean,
we've already had black Batman.
You said that they're going to be leading it. It's going to happen in the next few years. It's not happening like anytime soon.
I think, like I said, I briefly skimmed the article because I was just like,
I mean, if they're taking that long to build up to it, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I mean, if they did it like a fly by night thing just to sell a few books, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
be.
right.
If they're taking like a few months to build something like that, I mean, I'd probably read it.
Yeah, we'll see.
If it's done as well as Miles Morales, and if it's done in the same sort of like here to stay way, I'm really excited about it. If it's kind of like,
just like Jimmy said, to sell a couple books,
right? Like the money grab of like, here, we're gonna do this for 6 months, and never mind.
Well, it's like the female turtle thing. I mean, they took a while to do that. Yeah. Which is so obviously, I don't think that's a money grab. Whereas they completely could have made that like it was a money grab, which some people could argue the other way.
Well, and they have, obviously publishers have certainly pulled off some money grabs of the century before, right?
Batman.
Yeah, we don't.
Hey,
too soon. We don't know about Jenica yet. Long term, there's been a couple. I mean, all the solicits for the books up to 100 seem like something could happen with one member. They haven't said yet. We'll see. Right. The other thing I was thinking, like you were saying, Nico, about Miles Morales, I was thinking about that today. He started in a totally separate universe that did not relate to the main Marvel universe. DC does not have that except for the animated universe, which is like where Batman Beyond is, or was until... He's in continuity now, I guess. I don't know. He's in continuity, right?
Crisis on Infinite Earth.
I think New 52 brought him in, right? New 52 brought him into the universe.
Because I remember that you had that Phantasm book.
Jimmy, the multiverse
was in continuity.
Exists in DC as well as in Marvel, but I don't necessarily think that's the smart storyline. We'll see how this goes.
I'm just saying, like, Marvel has an infinite amount of universes where all these characters live, whereas DC has chosen to not really do that, and then they do like a major event to bring them all back together if they do kind of stray that way. Because I was looking up that Nico's favorite new character, Lieutenant
Lieutenant Dan.
No, Sergeant something Barnes. So the female version of Bucky Barnes, who is Valkyrie's love interest in the Exile series.
Oh,
because
hold on. Who do you think's going to play her? What's her name? Kristen Stewart.
I was saying Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, that would make me happy.
Tessa Thompson said that she wanted a queen to rule her kingdom.
Look.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
like Kristen Stewart. I'm team.
Don't think that's going to work.
I hope it gets announced the next week.
Oh my god! We can get quoted by cosmicnews.com or some dumb shit.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
I heard it's happening. I heard for sure that Kristen Stewart is playing.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard it from a guy wearing a cape one time. He told me he's my insider source. That brings me to my next point. A lot of people seem to be having like these weird insider sources that aren't like legitimate.
No, but we got a good one.
No, but what was the big news that came out this week that was completely fake news? That had something to do with like the heroes of the long box?
How about the Incredible Hulk Wolverine movie?
No.
Oh my god, I saw that.
No,
they just made that up.
What was
about the Green Lantern?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Green Lantern show.
Oh my god!
Yeah, they said that there's going to be a Kyle Rayner Green Lantern TV show, and they based it on Ethan Van Sciver making some kind of YouTube video where he said that DC contacted him and wanted him to change his autobiography because it said that he was married to like his old wife, and it said like his 20-year-old kid was still playing with Legos or something. Like it was an old, and so somehow that has. So him making a video saying, "Oh, well, this must be why they had me change." It's like, no, they had you change it because it was an old autobiography. You dummy. The whole thing is such a stretch. It just doesn't make sense.
So he said they've contacted me to update my biography because he was confused because DC basically doesn't want to deal with him
at all
since because of the whole Comicsgate thing.
Hold on. Let's talk about our man Nick.
What? What
Dude,
about him?
He contacted an HBO executive who was like, not true. And then was kind enough to do an announcement about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's the kind of
he didn't even need to do that. Here's
I enjoy.
Here's how the dots were connected that spread. A YouTube podcast put out that they had heard
insider source.
An insider source, Green Lantern, Kyle Rayner TV show on HBO Max. HBO Max. So then their favorite comic book fake news website picked it up.
Cosmic.
So then I wasn't even going to give them the credit of naming them.
I like them. That's why I want them to I want them to know for sure that they need to quote us for what did we quote before? That Kristen Stewart's playing that lady.
Yeah, the female Bucky Barnes.
That's the quote. That's the quote I want. I want it to say, Comic Book War said Kristen Stewart is playing that lady.
It's the news.
Yeah, direct quote.
Yeah. So then he makes this thing saying like, oh yeah, they want me to update. Why do they want me to update my biography? Even though they told him, hey, we're reissuing this trade paperback of Rebirth Green Lantern. That's why we want you to update it. And then he goes, so I started looking around and I found this website. Would you look at this? A Green Lantern Kyle Rayner HBO show. And it's the same one we're just talking about. So then what's that diagram of the snake eating its own tail? Like that was what I was thinking. Like it's all circular. Like, oh yeah. Then this podcast is gonna say, did you hear? You know, like Van Cybers said it too. Yeah, it's so terrible. Like how this stuff works now.
Like, the guy's crazy, obviously.
Yeah, he's whatever. So that was. How about
the Women in Refrigerators book is the shit, and I want it to be on people's walls, and it makes me happy. The Women in Refrigerators book, the DCU variant. See, because whichever side of Comicsgate you fall on, right? Like if you're like, this is just an evil ploy by feminists to try and whatever.
So what's the book? It's Green Lantern. Okay, time out. What's the book?
It's the Women in Refrigerators.
It's like, there's a woman in the fridge, and Gail Simone wrote a big article on it. And
if you're like,
it has nothing to do with Comicsgate.
Well, but it doesn't.
While you're talking, you want to talk about your Nico's vintage market watch?
Should both love
no, it has nothing to do with anything. It has nothing to do with what you're talking about.
They should both love it, dude. It's like a historical artifact.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like what you're talking.
And the conservatives should be like, put it on the wall, or whatever. Like, I don't care which side you fall on. Like,
put it on the wall,
or whatever. Yeah.
There's a Sir Mix-a-Lot song like that, but it's called "Put Him on the Glass." Yeah, put him on the glass, Sir Mix-a-Lot.
I'm just saying. And I really would like to get a copy signed by both Ethan Van Sciver and Gail Simone.
Like I'm sure she would love to sign that comic.
I bet she'd sign it for me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw her at a show last weekend. There was nobody there. I was surprised because I was like, I don't remember seeing her on the guest list. But then I was like, even if I did, like, would anybody care?
On it, and then like a little, I don't know, heart or something.
This is where you got off the wall. I wish you would just focus on Nico's vintage market watch.
Whatever.
I hear something's going on with a book called Venus 19.
Show the picture.
Oh, I apparently have pictures. But I hear there's something going on with a book called Venus 19. Can you tell me some stuff about that?
Oh my goodness. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous book, and you guys
what's happening to that guy's head?
You're gonna have to help me. You're gonna have to help me with the numbers here. It is a CGC
5.0.
5.0 sold for
$5,555. Yeah.
Oh my! Huge result for a huge book that is truly rare. You don't see this book come up on eBay. You don't see it come up on Instagram. When you do, you see beat up copies that are generally overgraded because people are trying to save up to get super nice copies in auctions. It is one of the most coveted books, and if you talk to like guys that are serious about pre-code horror comics, this is always in their top 10. For some, it's their very favorite book. It's a winner, and that's a big result for it, and a big jump in price tag.
I just don't get, like, the woman, like, his head fell off right when they were going to kiss, but did she not notice his hands were already skeleton hands?
I'm just saying that book could have sold for I don't know, $4,000, and I wouldn't have been surprised. The $5,500 mark is just a huge result for it.
I mean, John's right though. The hands are skeleton hands.
That was a dead giveaway.
I don't even know how to respond sometimes to the things that you guys say. I want you to know that from the bottom of my heart.
What's going on with X-Men 96?
We talked about it, and I'm excited
Oh.
about it as a book. I've been talking about it for weeks, and I finally broke down and ordered a copy. I did not.
Did you buy a 9.8? Because I hear
No, I did
9.8s
not.
are going for north of $1,300.
Yeah, we already talked about it. Welcome.
We talked about it already. On to the next one.
This segment is called like Nico's Vintage Market Watch, but then for some reason you're talking about Vengeance 1. So what's up with that, my guy?
Well, I think it's clearly
So Vengeance 1 is what? First appearance of America? It came out in what, 2000?
America Chavez.
Miss America Chavez. It came out in 2012.
Maybe. I just made that up. I don't know if I'm right about that date.
Sounds like a good year for
it. Sounds like it might have come out around then, yeah. 2012, 2014, around then.
Yeah.
No, I think it's 2014, actually.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
It doesn't really matter.
I mean, I'm not going to look it up. I'm just saying it came out around then. Okay. It's definitely not.
The point is this. There's a newsstand variant of this book that sold for $250. It sold so fast on eBay that when I clicked on the little dot, it just came up to the sold auction.
Jeez.
And so,
here's how easy it is to tell between the two. The book looks exactly the same, and then there's a little writing there that says Newsstand and Direct. I mean,
that doesn't seem like it's really easy to see.
No, it's not at all. I honestly think people have these probably in their collection.
There's no question about it. There's no question about it, and it's just like the Captain Marvel 14 book, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And how much did a 9.6 of the Captain Marvel 14 sell for? Like $1,600, I think.
Was it that much?
Oh yeah, crazy. Right. I mean, they're getting huge numbers for these. So this is what I think you got to be doing. One, always take a look at the indicia to figure out whether or not these late newsstand books are the ones that are in your hand, or if they're direct market copies. The late
How
newsstand.
can you tell by looking at that? You talking about the UPC code?
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
it seems hard.
You're going to find them in show boxes with retailers and or dealers being utterly unaware. You're going to find them in your own boxes, and potentially be sitting on treasure. And the question is really like, what are the next books to pop? So now for example, one that sticks out like a glaring example for me is Tech 880. And you're going to have to help me out maybe in the live chat. The
Ultimate Fallout 4.
Ultimate Fallout 4, right, has already started to pop.
Tough one to find.
Right. The Marvel ones have been more popular than the DC. The price variants have been the most popular of them all. But there's an opportunity here to get, just like a real winner for the price of a direct market. But more importantly, to kind of like pick books that have yet to go crazy because the collectors of newsstand editions haven't gotten around to buying them or discovering them. Or people that are already sitting on high-grade copies of the direct market haven't gotten around to replacing them with the newsstand copies. I think a lot of the allure around the newsstand copies is because collectors think that there's some kind of backstory there. That the majority of these kinds of copies got destroyed. You know what happens with spinner racks and people who aren't comic book people? They just tear them down.
No, well, comic book retailers still use them. I don't understand why they bend that crap out of a book when you put a book.
I don't know, dude. It blows my mind that they don't use the little pieces of plastic to put in front of their book, right?
Where do they still use those? Don't you just ask them?
Oh, I've been in some shops where they use them. I'm just like, you're probably gonna have nothing for me here. People love them though. I was in a shop the other day, and
dude, vintage spinner racks are big monies. I'd love to have one. If you ever
see one of those, let me know because I'll buy it.
Yeah, they're big money.
They are.
I saw some guy on Facebook had he bought 8 of them, and he was selling them all, and they were like 500
how much was he?
Or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're about 500 for one.
Right.
Now was it 500 Canadian?
No, it was in MA. Mass with MA.
Why are you looking at Craigslist in MA?
No, it was on Facebook. He was on Facebook. MA. Where that is.
I
get what you're saying.
Okay.
Weirdo.
Do we have any other cool books to talk about?
Yeah, we have a lot of cool books to talk about. But anyway, so there's rumors this week that the Inhumans might be joining the MCU. I mean, who cares?
Why not? I mean, they've tried it once and it was terrible, and then what's he doing over there?
I mean, they probably have a lot of action figures they still have to sell. So I imagine that has something to do with it.
Well, one thing I did read, I was reading an article, came across an article on Miss Marvel TV show, and they said maybe one character that could show up would be Lockjaw.
Yeah, that would make sense. They have been trying to push Lockjaw.
Yeah, and Lockjaw was in the Inhumans TV show. Did anybody ever watch that? I don't think anybody ever watched it.
The one that was based in Hawaii?
Not even the people.
Nico, you didn't watch that? You didn't watch the Inhumans?
Come on,
I wasn't collecting comic books at the time. Marvel has since removed it from its library. And
they removed it from their library?
Good news, man. That's not good.
It was so bad that you can't even buy a copy of that.
So we want what, Inhumans 1, and then they first appeared in what, Fantastic Four?
There's 2 Fantastic Four books and you're gonna have to help me out with the numbers. There's the first appearance
35.
No. It's 45 and 46 or 44 and 45, but there's 2 key appearances, right? So there's the blue book that's the first appearance of the Inhumans, and then the second one, which is the first appearance of Black Bolt. The Black Bolt book seems to be selling for less money than the first appearance of the Inhumans, but really both of those
Medusa appears much earlier, though.
Both those books don't start to pop until it's you get 8.0s or 8.5s or 9.0s, and then the price just soars.
Yeah. I just wonder if they've come down since
they're cheap, dude. There's some cheap books, and even after that news dropped, the prices or the books weren't selling on eBay, not immediately. So I think that a lot of people just are cash poor. I mean, there's so many announcements from Marvel right now. It's holy shit.
Plus, that's not that's not news that's picked up by a lot of outlets at this point, because it's just a rumor.
Yeah, but it's picked up by speculators with cash.
Yeah,
retailers with cash, and when they're not buying the books, it tells me that they're seeing it as a longer term play. I like that as a longer term play, but I won't be hoarding copies. But I might try and grab a high grade copy of each of those 2 books.
We got that from the same source that told us about how She-Hulk was going to be announced at D23, and so was Moon Knight and all that other stuff. So it seems like that might actually be happening, unlike some of the things you hear on other podcasts. The other, I guess, news that came out this week, we also kind of talked about last week. We talked about some of the characters that are supposed to be rumored to be appearing at some point in the Marvel universe, and they announced a few more for Spirits of Vengeance on Hulu.
Well, they basically are saying now that, because I don't think it was confirmed yet, that Spirits of Vengeance will be a team on Hulu. So it's going to be definitely confirmed as Ghost Rider, Hellstrom, and Satana. And we talked last week about some of the other characters that were rumored that have not been fully announced yet. And I'm just going to run through the names real quick, which was Nightmare. Morgan Le Fay, I think, is a good one to look at. We talked about her. because she's part of the Dark Holders, which is a group. If you remember,
is she like a French Canadian or something?
Could be. I would just lean more towards French as opposed to the second part of that.
Oh,
Parlez-vous français?
I'm still throwing out Elsa Bloodstone out there. I'm not sure where she's gonna fit in.
I actually sold one this week. I sold a VF Plus for $40.
Oh,
which
nice.
Was weird.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh. Jennifer Kale, we talked about. They're also saying Man-Thing, maybe.
Sure. It was a maybe with Man-Thing, is what he said too, which was interesting.
Yeah, it's like
yeah, they're taking a look at it, but I don't know.
Maybe. And then one we forgot to mention last week was Lilith, which came up on an earlier podcast. And
Lilith, that book's been selling well for a while, though. The first appearance of Lilith.
Absolutely. Well, I had somebody reach out to me about the Marvel preview.
It's the wrong one. How many times are we going to talk about this?
Other than the giant, you don't like the giant size
chillers,
and you don't like which one do you like?
That's the daughter of in giant size chillers. It's the daughter of Dracula, which is a fine book that could fit in. But Ghost Rider 28 from the Danny Ketch series is the character that would show up in Spirits of Vengeance, because it's from the whole Spirits of Vengeance tie-in series. So I mean, it's the same thing as Cersei. You know, there's multiple characters, iterations of them.
So Bloodshot's still happening, apparently.
Yeah, it was never not going to happen. I just don't understand why it's taken so long to get anything to even look at. Is it like that bad? You're just assuming it's that
because,
bad?
like, the company that's funding it was taken over by the Chinese government, to some capacity, and all the investors fled to California. And didn't they embezzle a bunch of money and buy like mansions and Rolls Royces and stuff? Wasn't that? I read that on Hollywood Reporter.
There was one of the head guys. He got in trouble for moving money around or something. I can't remember.
All of them. It wasn't just one of the head guys. Wow. It was all the guys that fled.
Wow.
Okay.
So how are they still making the movie then?
I don't know.
Oh, so we're supposed to get a trailer in October.
Oh, it seems like and when the movie comes out when?
Early next year, I think, or middle of next year.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't know if it's like March next year or something. I can't remember off the top of my head.
And so I've not paid attention to that at all.
There's two.
Well, so the one question I have is, now that that's coming up, and if the trailer is decent at all, is Eternal Warrior 4 going to pop or Rise Zero? And I know the Valiant guy's been pushing Rise Zero, which I don't understand why at all. But I found this graphic from Valiant Man, who's obviously a huge online Valiant presence. He noticed this kind of easy way to tell between the matte and the glossy. The glossy one sells for a lot more. You can kind of see the glossy shows a little bit of that inside cover, which I thought was cool. So shout out to him, because he knows anything and everything Valiant, pretty much.
He really does too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Those early Valiant books from the 90s are near and dear to me. I really enjoyed Harbinger back in the day, Rye back in the day, and
I bought those off the newsstand.
Yeah, these days, it's just
Jimmy wasn't alive then, so he doesn't know what we're talking about.
So
it's a comic book.
Yeah.
The trailer for
Bloodshot, Superman, you were around for early Valiant.
So the trailer for Bloodshot comes out next month. Not next month, in October. And the other thing that comes out in October is Watchmen on HBO. And there seems to be a lot of actors. They haven't confirmed what characters they're playing. So a lot still seems to be up in the air about that series. I don't know.
It's so weird that they haven't confirmed that what's his name is playing Ozymandias. It's what is the point of holding that back? Everybody, Jeremy Irons, right?
Dude, what's great about it is that they haven't told anybody anything about it, right?
Yeah.
I like that.
Not really, yeah. Not really. They've kind of just a little bit has gotten out, and it's more like the cops don't even have guns and stuff, I guess is kind of
what?
Yeah, that's what I read, I thought.
Like a Great Britain thing?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, regardless, I hope that this TV series is a huge success. If it is, I think we're going to see a lot of quality DC television produced on HBO Max by Warner Brothers. Who knows? Maybe we will see that Green Lantern series, or just like sky's the limit, right?
If maybe there's another comics book series that they're going to do.
Ooh.
Maybe. I mean, maybe not.
Maybe a Green Lantern TV show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know about all that, but I mean, maybe. But the point is, like, it's Katie bar the door, right? I mean, if Watchmen is a winner, if it drives people to watch HBO, to pay for HBO Max, if people are, getting together on Sunday night, sitting around their televisions and watching Watchmen in the same way that they did with those early Walking Dead episodes, that they did with Game of Thrones, and doing it week in, week out, Warner Brothers will throw money behind
Bad
other
Girls
properties.
Club.
I don't know that anyone did that other than Jimmy, but everybody's different.
Yeah. Oh, that's very true. Yeah, that's very true.
Bad Girl, like, there's nothing wrong with that show. I like it.
There's nothing wrong with that, Jimmy. You don't have to.
And then, like, Tanisha in the second season, like, she just isn't having it. So, like, it's so good. And then she comes in pots and pans and wakes them all up.
Oh,
good time.
Do you sit around with the family and watch that?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
It's good.
Sure.
It's good shows. So I guess, like, the last thing we had that we hadn't touched on at all was, like, Sleepy Spec. Did you know that, Nico? That there was a Sleepy Spec section?
Whoa.
Oh my.
So, do you want to talk about that at all, Sleepy?
Yeah, this is just some thought I had about the Moon Knight show, because we don't know anything about it. The one thing that is probably going to happen is this character will show up, which is I've looked forever for how to say this character's name. I think it's called Chanshu. First appearance is Moon Knight #1, the solo series from 1980, and it's like a big it has like a big bird beak. It's an Egyptian god. So that character is who resurrects Mark Spector and gives him his powers, and basically tries to make him go insane so that then this god can come back and inhabit his body and come back to Earth. So his first appearance is the Moon Knight #1 from 1980, which is seeing a little bit of uptick. We've talked about that one a couple times. But maybe we'll also get a look at another character, which is Amon-Ra, which is his father, who first appears in Thor 300. Maybe that one pops up. I don't really like these kind of parent specs, but I will say, like in Captain Marvel, when her mother got announced was going to be in the show, that book popped up pretty quick for like a $50 book, kind of overnight or maybe like in a week. This book, I don't know. I mean, it's a milestone book, but I don't remember even seeing it, honestly. Maybe a cheap book.
Well, that's because you have to be careful, because if you stand in front of it, like, the hammer might hit you.
It's like, whoa, duck. And then comes up and a little bit later, it's a different iteration of the same character, called a Tomb, or the Demo Gorge, Thor Annual #10. I don't know that I would even really bother with this book.
The Demogorg.
Yeah.
In the clutches of the god.
It's like Stranger Things, only different.
Oh, okay. Cool, man. Cool. Stranger Things is real cool with the kids, so maybe that'll be the
I don't know what that means.
I don't. Yeah.
All the kids are
so
dead.
Maybe that Thor 300.
All the kids died in Stranger Things.
Thor books. Nobody looks for any Thor books.
You just ruined Stranger Things for everyone.
Well, we know the cop dies because he becomes Red Guardian. He comes back to life as Red Guardian in the Black Widow movie.
I don't know what we're talking about.
David Harbour. David Harbour.
He dies?
Well, you can't be
whatever.
two characters.
You know, I don't even care about whatever.
He definitely does not die.
Oh, okay. I haven't watched it. I bet I'm too busy watching. What was the shows we were supposed to watch first? Game of Thrones, Bad Girls Club, Walking Dead.
The Wire.
The Wire. Yeah, we talked about that one earlier. It's a good book. Yeah.
Great shows.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll be back next week with an all-new episode, and it will be just as awesome, if not more awesome. We seem to be on a good track record of awesomeness. Okay, thanks, guys. We'll catch you next week.
See ya.
I don't know why you're laughing.